Yurakoto, welcome to our virtual fireside chat, the repair model, insights from the front line. And this is part of Aotearoa New Zealand Repair Festival. A very appropriate day, I think, to have this virtual fireside chat as it is blisteringly cold up and down the country. So my name is James Griffin. I lead the circular economy work at the Sustainable Business Network. So going to kick off with a karakia to open up. Tuta mai I runga, tuta mai I raro, tuta mai I waho, tuta mai I roto, kia tu ai te mori tu, te mori ora, ki te katoa, humie, huie, tae kie. And that translation of that is, I summon from above, below, within, from the outside environment to calm and settle the vital inner essence, the well-being of everyone, be joined together, united. So that's quite a cool way to start things off. So we all know that keeping materials and products in use for as long as possible is a key foundation of a circular economy. And that the repair is a key business model to enable that. And so at SBN, our mission is to help accelerate the transition to a regenerative, low emission circular economy. And so we're really keen to increase the levels of repair in Aotearoa. Now, that is not as simple as it may sound, because in this linear economy that predominates, we need to take into account a redesign or a design, the skills, the consumer behavior, staff, infrastructure, all to be able to facilitate repair. And so really to help navigate, help you as attendees, this a transition to a more circular economy with repair as a key component. We are really fortunate enough to have representatives from 4 Kiwi organisations who are really championing repair here. And so we have our long-term SBN friend and award winner and circular economy pioneer in the toy category, Jennifer Macpac. So welcome, Jennifer. Lovely to have you from Wishbone Design Studio. We have the insatiable Wayne Bowater from Zempire Camping Equipment. We have a proud circular economy directory lister and pioneer on a global scale for a century of repair. We have Josie from Marzocco. And then we have one of the of New Zealand's OGs of repair, and that is Gavin Davison from Macpac. So welcome, and really appreciate you all being here to share your experiences of repair. Okay, shall we crack on? Okay, really, just to sort of start things off, it'd be really great to get your perspectives on the why. So maybe start with you, Jennifer, or Jen, as you've got there on your screen. Can you just maybe briefly outline, why Wishbone Design Studios embarked on a repair strategy?
Sure. We started our business 17 years ago, making preschool ride-on toys for preschoolers. And our idea was that we should be making products that last as long as they can and that minimize the materials involved in what we effectively sell, which is an experience of riding and learning to balance and ride for preschoolers. And in doing that, we thought, well, if we're making that, one of the hardest things we do as a business is manufacture a high quality balance bike. And so each time we do that, we should do it as well as we can and make sure that that bike will stay in use for multiple generations. We have a principle of 100% repairability, And I think it will be interesting to hear from the other panelists too. But for our business, it's important to understand from the outset that we do not offer a repair service, although we do sometimes on rare occasions repair for people. But our approach is that we design from the outset, we design a repairable product and we supply aftermarket parts and solutions, which are complex really, on how to distribute those parts and how to provide instructions for people to repair at home.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, good differentiation to make, Jen. Thanks for clarifying that. How about Wayne? I mean, what was the sort of motivation at Zempire for repair? Was it similar or?
Very similar. Obviously, circularity is the key issue here. We try to make the best quality product that we can, and of course, we want to keep that out of landfill because, let's face it, our business is in the outdoors, so we don't want to be poisoning it, as it were. But what we do want to do is make sure our product can be repaired at any time. Again, we have a very large selection of spare parts, which for the most part are easily repairable or replaceable by the client.
Right. Thank you. And how about Josie? Obviously, it sounds like there's been a long tradition of repair within your organization. Do you want to enlighten us with the purpose of that?
Absolutely. So La Marzocco is an Italian company. We're handmade espresso machines in Florence, Italy. And here in New Zealand, we're a branch office of La Marzocco. And it's a really mature espresso coffee drinking market in New Zealand and in Australasia. And La Marzocco is kind of been a preferred manufacturer of espresso machines within New Zealand and really synonymous with specialty coffee over the last 30 years. And when you're in a market that's so saturated, you can only sell so many new machines into it, because then there isn't the need for more new. And so we recognize this need to do something about an aging fleet of equipment, and we saw a real opportunity there to give these machines a second lease on life and to find ways to reduce the waste and extend lifespans of these machines. So we worked on this business model where we want to be 50% new and 50% servicing equipment, refurbishing, repurposing. So it just made sense, and we knew it was the right thing to do. And that's something that La Marzocco is all about. We want to be doing the right thing for the right reasons. And especially now in our economy, you know, there are some price sensitivities for some customers, and people can't always stretch to buying the new machine. And some of these coffee businesses are starting off roasting coffee in their garage, and just having a refurbished espresso machine option for them is breaking down barriers. And we're just excited to be in that space.
Great. No, excellent insights. Like, you know, in terms of the that business opportunity really coming through strongly there in that market you're in. Great, thank you. And then Gavin, what about the motivations at Macpac?
Yeah, thanks, James, and thanks for the opportunity to take part in the webinar too. I think it's great to get people together like this. We're pretty fortunate at Macpac in the sense that we've been around for 51 years now, and the founder really started with this clear intent to make long-lasting product. That was very much in the kind of founding principles of Macpac. And I think originally the repair option was essentially about customer service. That was this was about, sure, it's about extending the life of the product, but fundamentally it was about customer service. And we've sort of seen that evolve over the years, and to sort of dovetail nicely with new initiatives now around circular economy. So we're kind of grateful to have that strong foundation, and that all goes back to the beginning, the kind of focus on quality product. Like, I think all the panelists have talked about the importance of quality at the beginning, but also that connection to customer has been key for us.
Brilliant. Yeah, that sort of providing that service to customers is crucial, I'd imagine. And it's wonderful to see. So all of you are in long-standing successful organizations, and so with really quite circular principles really at the heart in terms of, you know, long-lasting products, quality products, etc. So it's really great to see you you thriving across all this time. You might have touched on it to some degree just then, but it would be great maybe to hear just for the audience what are the, you know, what is the service that you're offering, and perhaps, you know, what's the mechanics and how do customers get involved. So maybe Gavin, you know, you want to maybe carry on with what Macpac offers from a repair perspective.
Sure. I mean, I sort of see that there's probably three elements to that. The first one is a focus on I guess accessibility to parts in store. So we carry a portion of sort of regular buckles and bits and pieces in store, so customers can easily repair things themselves. And I think that's something which we aim to grow and kind of build on. There's a sort of important element around encouraging customers in correct care, which also is happening on our website in our care labeling, excuse me, and in store. And then really the foundation of the whole program is we've got a repairs workshop in our base camp in Christchurch. So in that workshop, we've got sort of 2 full-time and 1 part-time machinist. We've got machines which can sew virtually. I mean, we've got seam sealing and sewing machines that can repair or virtually everything that we've ever made. So we can pretty much deconstruct and reconstruct anything that we've made, from, you know, lightweight down jackets through to heavyweight canvas packs, and we'll receive those products through. So we're in the fortunate position of having a pretty good store network throughout New Zealand. So the New Zealand office is basically servicing New Zealand repairs, and we work with a third-party repairer in Australia for Australian stores. But we're receiving all the New Zealand repairs through us, largely through our store network, into the office here, and yeah, we're in that sort of position of having that sort of skills and equipment to pretty much repair anything that we've made. Yeah,
Great.
very fortunate.
Yeah. And it's great to hear about the jobs that have been created as part of that, with those 2 full-times, 1 part-time in Christchurch. So great, thank you. Josie, how does it work on a practical level at La Marzocco in New Zealand?
Sure. Well, La Marzocco in New Zealand, we have our technical workshop as part of our business here. So we have a lot of La Marzocco certified technicians, and we offer a range of services. And, you know, of course, we service our warranties for both domestic and commercial espresso machines. We have to offer for domestic machines that repair, refund, or replace in accordance with all the New Zealand legislations, but we've already shifted to that European model, the right to repair rules, just because we are a global business. So we always default to repair in the first place. And when we see machines going to landfills, that it just horrifies us. We don't want to see it. So we always want to service, repair. Even when we bring out new technologies, like we launched the La Marzocco Pro app, then we were retrofitting our equipment instead of saying that you needed to buy a completely new machine, and things like that are really important to us. And just last year, we officially launched the La Marzocco refurbished program here in New Zealand, and we're really excited about it. It's taking old machines and giving them a new lease on life. And by the end of the process, they perform just like new machines. And we're so proud of them and standing behind them that we're offering the same warranty on the refurbished machines that we do on the new ones. And now we're finding it's actually more profitable to sell a refurbished one than it is to sell a new one. And it's just like an amazing discovery to be able to do things for the right reasons, like I was saying before, and then have it be so commercially viable. And we can credit that to our amazing finance manager who's done a lot of modeling on this. But yeah, it's actually a really cool thing, and our customers are super excited about. And there's actually a 6-month wait just to get some of our refurbished machines because the demand is so high right now.
Wow, what a success story.
Yeah.
I can really tell how excited and proud you are of that, Josie, as well. So and big ups to that that accountant who did all the who did the modeling.
Yeah, Steve J is amazing.
Okay, shout out Steve. Thank you. So Wayne, just what's the deal at Zempire? You referred to having spare parts around, but anything you want to elaborate on, just so we get a sense of the mechanics?
Yeah, we do carry a very large range of spare parts, some dating back to when the company was founded some 14 years ago. We do have our own in-house repair facility that we obviously repair warranties, or if people have an issue with their tent and they want it repaired, they can bring it to us and we'll repair it for them. And add on to that is we do have quite a thorough refurbishment program as well. So we do all of our refurbishments are done for the New Zealand market here. We have some in Australia, and just recently negotiated to have a US company do refurbishments for us over there as required. We do maybe 2 to 3 postings a month on our refurbished page on our website to sell through a lot of refurbishment tents. So they are kept alive for quite a long period of time. Added to that, we try to make things, as I said, as easy as possible for clients to replace a beam in their tent. We are now currently working on videos to make that a little bit easier than the written word. We do supply instructions in terms of having items replaced. Again, it's all a customer service that we're looking to expand upon. And to the point now where a new product is designed, a lot of design focuses around repairability now instead of just practicality.
That's brilliant to hear. I think a couple of things here that which we're hearing coming through as well, that education of the customer on care, or as well as how to repair. So great those videos are coming through, and delighted to hear the designers being influenced, Wayne, for to accelerate that ability to repair. So thank you. And then Jen, any more on your sort of mechanics of spare parts? How does that work? I know you've referred to it already, but anything to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. I would say that like I said, we begin at the beginning with design, and so there are certain parts where we aim for modularity. You know, we have a particular capping nut that we use on every one of our ride-on toys, and we chose a capping nut that not only is used on all of our toys, so a family that would have a range of toys can actually interchange those parts as they repair, but also you could purchase that part from a hardware store. It would look a little different than ours, but it would actually have the same specifications. So that goes to the point that we also carry these parts in store, and we've made strategic decisions around how we'll bundle our spare parts. So for example, the bike frame is available just as a bike frame, but a capping nut is available in a little package of O-rings and washers and capping nuts. Sometimes a customer wants literally one capping nut, and we don't sell individual capping nuts, but we'll say you can get that from your local hardware store. So that's an important principle, that we're not trying to develop bespoke parts if we don't need to. It's good that people can, and in remote locations, can go to their local store if they can. And then we also have a YouTube channel where we load up the various videos that we've got to help people. For example, people will have a puncture in their inner tube and they think they need to send the bike back. Sometimes people are not always that familiar with how they might very easily solve a problem themselves. So we put up videos for dummies, like sort of YouTube channel that can give any advice you need on how to work with your product and make it fixable by you. And we redesigned some aspects of our products because we understand, okay, people don't have a certain tool at home. Maybe we thought they had a wrench, but they don't. So then we've added a bracket instead of another, to enable them to maybe fix a part without needing that tool. We also supply certain basic tools in the product so that they can get going with the product comes flat packed, so that Actually, something I would mention too is design for assembly and disassembly. So our products are designed so that disassembly is straightforward, and then people can get into the inner workings of the bike themselves and fix it.
Great. Thanks for that. So we're going to, that's sort of really setting the scene as the why and what. So we're going to get into maybe a bit more of the of those sort of key insights from the front line where you guys are at, because you've got some really well-oiled processes, etc., in place. But be really useful, I think, to understand maybe how, what you've learned along the way, how you got there, and as if any more impacts that you've generated, that would be great to share as well, as we sort of probably give some clues and help to the audience who can help influence repair in their own organizations, ideally, or if not, we're all customers, so in how they actually procure products themselves. So Jen, how about we carry on with you, and then also, but just want to say to the audience, please do chat away in the chat function, and we are currently we're running to schedule, so we'll begin to have some time towards the end of this 45-minute session for some questions. So as you think of them, please feel free to stick your question in the Q&A box at the bottom, and we'll try and answer as many of those as we can towards the end. But Jen, yeah, so what have been some of the insights from your journey?
I would say we've learned that it's expensive as a business. So it's great to hear Josie's example that they're finding that your refurbished are more profitable. And that's obviously the nirvana, that's the goal, It's expensive as a business to hold all parts, and we commit to all parts of all products. And we have warehouses globally in New Zealand, Australia, the US, and the Netherlands. And so we hold those parts everywhere. So we come up with solutions for that. For example, we've categorized our parts into more popular and less popular. And we now hold about 60 to 70% of our parts in every location, every distribution hub around the world. And then we would hold 100% of the parts here. And so some of them would be couriered from here as necessary. We've also figured out that we need to price our spare parts to cover the costs. Usually when you run a business, you're paying attention to the turn of the product, the inventory in the warehouse, and you're looking for everything to turn as often as possible, maybe every 1 to 3 months. Whereas some of these parts, as I think Wayne mentioned, they are from model. You got to hold parts for all of the models if you've relaunched your model and revised your design. And so we hold parts for models that are now a decade old or longer, and they are turning very slowly. So we've come up with more but kind of, I think, innovative ways to price those parts that take into account numbers of sales and amount of storage cost in a given period, rather than focus simply on the turn of the parts and then have a false sense of what we need to charge. And we noticed too, there's an interesting relationship between the price of the part and the price of the shipping of the part. So we have a very generous warranty response. So when people come to us under warranty, we ship those parts for free and provide them for free as well. But most times people are happy to buy because they're using their bike. We have customers that are telling us about the 6th kid that's been riding on their Wishbone bike. So they're looking to not pay too much in shipping, and we find we need to work that out in terms of the cost of the product and the cost of the shipping in a way that works for people, and they can feel comfortable that they're getting value for what they're buying. And that's not easy. It's challenging. Yeah, I'll leave it there for the others.
I think that's really interesting because what we see is typically it's the old things that break, right? And so you try and you can try and keep parts in stock, and we try and have a discipline with our design team that will order parts which we think we know that a buckle will slip off or get lost, or we try and identify ahead of or during the design phase what components might need to be replaced, and we might order those at the time. But what we'll often find is it's 10 years down the track that somebody needs that part, or even longer. And we see sort of canvas packs coming into our repair office here, and they could be 30 or 40 years old. And so we're trying to match some of that old stuff is a bit of a, can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. But it's thinking in the long term. And I love your point there, Jen, about not relying on proprietary parts, but relying on generally available parts, I think is a real key. And I think, we're in the business of we have sewn product, but there's always a tension with design and designers where they want to have the new thing and the new trim or the new color. And we end up trying to rein some of that in the sense of how interchangeable the components, and how can we get away with having one set of shoulder straps, for example, that runs across several styles, or that kind of. So there's always a little bit of tension, and I think one of the benefits that we see is that dialogue between the repairs team and the design team, in terms of how do you make things last a long time, because we get very real feedback in terms of what's breaking or where is damage occurring or what are the weak spots. And so there's some real valuable feedback there that we can use to inform design. But also there's a sort of some give and take there. Is like, can we please stop changing the buckles every season? Can we just like that? So which is, it can be pretty funny, I think. But yeah, I love that thing, Jen, around where can you get that component from, and is it readily available? It's a very good lesson.
And Gary, so how about the customer interaction? So repair's been sort of quite embedded in the Macpac experience, hasn't it? I mean, so do you find customers are aware of that, expect it, use it?
I think it's interesting, because I think customers, although we've basically offered a repair service for that full 50 years, we still find lots of customers aren't fully aware of it. So we're making a real effort currently we've got a new store opening in a couple of weeks, and it will have a dedicated sort of kiosk which will kind of draw attention to repairs, and we'll group care and repair product around that. And it's interesting, we've had some really great engagement on social media recently where we've kind of showcased repair products that have been repaired. And I think that's got really good feedback. I think so. There's customers out there who are supportive and interested. We know from our own experience that it's an opportunity to really delight customers, especially where there's that sort of there's an emotional attachment, I guess. We see that particularly with packs, and I'm sure that's true, Wayne, with your canvas tents and when you've got a high value coffee machine. There's those things that you kind of you're attached to, you see value in them. I kind of they're I suppose the hero things, and then I think there's some bread and butter stuff. We offer sort of self-adhesive patches for down-filled apparel, for example. Now what's great about a down jacket is that it's super light, but light fabrics are vulnerable. So being able to repair a jacket easily at home with a self-adhesive patch, which still looks presentable, is also a good solution. It doesn't always have to be and that can be provided to the customer at a store level rather than having to bring product back to the workshop here.
And I'm loving that there's a bit of real-time feedback here in the chat. So Anchor is saying she's got a 25-year-old Macpac that's been she uses regularly for commuting. Got it fixed a couple of times, still going strong and loving the longevity. Look at that.
That's fantastic to hear. Love it. Love it.
Brilliant. Hey, Wayne, any insights from yourself?
We're finding customers are more and more happier to get repairs done. Initially, 3 years ago, we started a large project of putting all of our spare parts online. Spare part sales not only went through the roof, but we were getting less and less contact from people trying to claim warranties, which was a massive help, because people, they break it, they rip it, it's a damage somehow. We want a new one. Can we get this replaced? And so, no, but hey, we can supply this part to you at no cost, and this is how you fit it. And quite often, all you get a reply back is, please send it to this address. So that's had a great impact on our warranty and repairs department. Our warranties have declined considerably since offering that service to customers, and obviously we want them to repair it first and foremost, but we're more than happy to supply the part to make the job happen for them. It's just identifying the right part and the right tent for a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Mm.
Some key themes coming through here. Josie, any insights from you in terms of how the business is operating?
Yeah, for sure. I think to start off, there were some challenges for us coming into pitching this idea of refurbished Marzocco machines. Our parent manufacturer in Italy, you know, they're in the business of making new machines. So when we came to them and said we want to sell old machines, they were like, wait, what? But the way it's kind of been modeled and really, really positively responded to by our customer base. Like, for example, we work with Ozone Coffee Roasters a lot, and they're a B Corp company. And more of our customers are making it really clear to us that they want these kinds of sustainable solutions, and that's important to them in the decisions that they make about their business and who they work with. As well as just being a really great way to diversify our business offering and have it be a mix of new and old. And also, just if we're not refurbishing our machines, somebody else is going to. So may as well be us. So that was another thing we thought about, that, you know, it's going to happen. Let's make it be a business opportunity for us as well. And then since then, it's been really catching on. Like, this refurbishment program is going on to be launched in Australia and hopefully across other La Marzocco branches around the world. So we're really proud of it, and excited about how it's been going. And just jumping on what some of the other panelists has been saying, like, there is this kind of emotional connection to some of these objects. It's a bit of heritage in there. I did a bit of an editorial piece for Junk and Disorderly, which is an antique shop in Auckland. I don't know if you've been there, but they also sell coffee, and we did a refurbished machine for them. And it's this beautiful Linea Classic from the 1990s. And that's when the store started. So it kind of really goes with the whole ethos of that space. And also with our design, the machine they have is called a Linea Classic, and it has this iconic classic shape. It's one of those things that isn't going to go out of style. So if you did retrofit it, if you did refurbish it, it can be a really beautiful workhorse machine for years and years to come. It's built to last.
Brilliant. I'm getting a real sense of a bit of maybe a sort of change in momentum around repair. Conscious though we might be in a little echo chamber, but anyway, I'm going to take it. So hey, thank you for sharing those insights. And now we've got some. I think it's appropriate to go into a few questions, and then building on that. You know, perhaps that last point of you know, societal level. Dave Watson has asked if there's any thoughts from the panel on how the passive societal acceptance and dominance of built-in obsolescence, particularly in household appliances, can be overcome. Is there a tipping point, and are we close to it? Any thoughts on that?
I'll go first. I made a note there back to Dave in the chat that, yeah, you know, when we started Wishbone, we had a repairable toys, and I used to stand in trade fairs and tell people that, and just with blank faces, you know, they were like, well, I don't know why you're telling me that. I don't know what it means. You know, I don't know why I would care. Compared to today, we know, because we can see that people are actually searching up, I want a repairable toy, and they're hard to find, you know, so That's definitely, I would say, a tipping point in terms of consumers, and maybe the wholesale businesses might be a little bit behind that wave. So that's a one thing we do find is that we see we have an education role ourselves, to help people understand. For example, in our each product has an instruction page in the box when you receive it, and in that, under warranty, we say that we will default to repair initially, usually if it's appropriate under a warranty case. And also we encourage people, we actually speak to them in that document and say, please pause and think about what you're asking us for. Ask us for the part, don't ask us for a replacement product, because that's how we want to approach this. So we try to have an actual dialogue with our customer. And we have we collect in our social media profiles, but even just in our own databases, photographs that people send us of their refurbished product, because there are some people who I think naturally think to refurbish and naturally think that it's a celebration that their Macpac or their Wishbone, ride-on toy has a patch or has a change in color or has visible evidence that it's been refurbished or repaired. And there's others who wouldn't think that until you tell them. If we show them, we say, hey, here's some pictures we can share with you of others, of creative work that others have done. And it's exciting. It's exciting to think about the creative project you have in front of you. Then we can convert people quite actively. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I think there's some stuff. I think the question's a really good one, because I know the repair network has been pushing for right to repair legislation, and I think that will be key in terms of changing some of the big stuff. But I do think there is a kind of shift amongst certainly in some sectors of consumers, and we have to keep encouraging it. I think there's also something really important around connecting people to the thing. I think people have lost touch with what it is to make a thing, and I think there's something very powerful about enabling people to make simple repairs themselves, which connects you back to an actual product. I think we've had a long history in New Zealand of there not being much manufacturing here anymore, and people have lost touch with what it is to have your hands. That's largely been taken away from us as consumers. I think there's something really powerful about this movement, which is, and I love that about the repair cafes as well, is empowering people to you might not make a perfect repair, but you're going to have a very serviceable product. And I think that's also good to remember. It doesn't have to be perfect.
And you have that deeper, I'm hearing is this deeper emotional connection. Actually having gone through the process with the product.
Yeah, which might be harder to have with a household appliance. I mean, except for a nice coffee machine, but perhaps not for your washing machine. And I think so that's where the legislation I think comes in. Like I think there is a role to play.
I think something that's been of great benefit to us is the fact that we can actually advise the customer where to get it fixed. A lot of our products are quite big, canvas, polyester tents, they're very big, and people look at the issue they're having is, I wouldn't even know how to fix this or where to go to fix this. Who do I go and see to have this repaired? So in a lot of cases, we've developed quite a strong repair partnership with a number of players in Australia, so we can direct the customer to them, and then they know they can at least go somewhere to get it fixed. And that's a very it's gone a long way to helping customers repair as opposed to demanding a replacement, etc., under warranty, for example.
Absolutely, great. We've got perhaps time for a final question, and coincidentally, I think there's only one final question left. Oh no, another one has come in. But there is a question around the assessment of the parts and services are profitable or break even, and if you accept that, or who wears the cost. Who pays is often a question that businesses are thinking about with new business models, and this is in the context of that might be key to getting other businesses on this journey. And I think, Josie, we've heard your success story in terms of the numbers, and it's financially really quite viable, in fact more viable. But anyone else got any thoughts on the on the profitability aspects, or where the cost sits?
Since we've started our refurbishment program, adding on to our warranties, it's actually become a new revenue stream for us. So in the New Zealand market, for example, our warranties sits in the black as opposed to the red. So we get a very positive outcome financially in the refurbishing tents.
Great to hear. Any other thoughts?
We don't have, it's hard for us to sort of untangle all of the costs just because they're sort of spread across a few different areas. But there's no question in my mind that there's an absolute benefit both in terms of that feedback loop, regardless of the, like Wayne says, the warranty costs that we're offsetting by being able to repair and the kind of downstream benefits. But I think just in terms of the kind of feedback loop and the customer loyalty, I think there's a huge benefit to
Great.
No question in my mind that there's a benefit to the company.
I would absolutely agree with the customer sentiment thing. It's something that you can't even really put a monetary value on, like how much brand loyalty you can build by having a product that is repairable, or by having that level of customer service where people know that they can come to you to get a repair or get a solution, and how that bleeds across to everything that we do.
We find, I would add that when people come to our web store to buy the parts, oftentimes they go away having ordered other stuff, so they might have come for a capping nut, but they'll leave with 2 or 3 accessories or another whole toy that they sort of forgotten we offered, so oftentimes, when I mentioned before that there are cost issues around shipping small items, small spare parts, but when they buy a couple of other products with the spare part, which is, I would say, more common than not, it's unquestionably profitable, to make those available. And there might be certain items that are not in and of themselves, that individual sale is not profitable. Some of the larger, less need more rarely demanded spare parts, but as a whole we make sure that it's a revenue stream.
Wonderful.
Absolutely agree with Gavin in terms of the customer satisfaction levels increasing as well.
Well, there's lots of wins I'm hearing for this repair business model. So I suppose we're coming to the end of our time now. So is there any final short comments or calls out to the audience that any of you would like to make at all, or have we pretty much covered it, do you think?
I think with any product you have or needs repair, get in touch with the manufacturer, see what they can do for you. Don't just automatically throw it away. Get in touch with the supplier and see how and if they can help. Brilliant.
That sounds pretty simple advice. Thank you. Hey, so really appreciate Gavin, Jen, and Wayne and Josie taking time out of your day to share these insights with you all, with a view of just let's try and accelerate the repair culture, as we've heard of the multiple benefits that it has from environmental, perhaps obvious, but it's also, we can hear that it's helping the bottom line significantly, and it's giving us as customers more joy as we develop these greater emotional attachments to the products. So thank you all as well for dialing in your lunch hour and participating in the questions, etc. And so 3 things really to sign off with. First of all, if you are online and you are currently in an organization that isn't an SBN member, then please encourage you to join. We can do much more, much quicker together. If you are a customer of purchase products, let's let's use Wayne's advice and contact the manufacturer and see how they can help repair it for you. And also check out the remaining events of the Aotearoa New Zealand Repair Festival. You can find them online, and yeah, let's repair it. So thank you again. I'm just going to finish off with closing karakia. No. Unahia, unahia. Unahia ki te uru tapanui. Ke wātia, ke mama tēnā kau. Te tinana, te wairua, ki te ara tangata. Koidare rongo, whakarihiha, ake ki runga, kia tina, huie, tākia. And that means draw on the supreme sacredness, this rongo, the God of peace, fully immersed, draw together. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Kia ora.
Thanks, everyone. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thanks.
Thanks all.